On Monday, she takes a walk with Johnny. On Tuesday, she has a talk with Jim. On Wednesday, she likes to dance with Tommy.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of My Index to Sex. I'm Lynn Ferguson, a big vanilla Scottish woman living in the San Fernando Valley, which is periodically very hot, but rarely in a sexy way. And I'm joined by my pal, Sephe Haven, at one point America's #1 escort. In each episode, Sephe delves into the index box of all of her past clients, and I ask her all the questions everyone wants answered. I'm lying. That's what I should be doing. What I'll actually be doing is assigning the anonymous client on the card a name and clumsily trying to understand a world which is completely foreign to me. Anyway, glad you could join us.
On Thursday, she takes a chance with Tim.
So what have you got in your box, then? What letter are you pulling out of the box today?
Well, let me read a little bit and you see what you'd like to name him.
All right, has he not got an initial?
He does, but
you're not going to take... Oh, I see. Is this you sprucing it up a bit? Are you like spicing up the... Did you have to do that to keep yourself interested when you were doing what you were doing? I mean, some days did you go, I really can't be bothered going for the penis today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go for the hair instead. Did you have a different thing? Did you?
Yeah, I guess I did. I guess everybody has a day where you go, I just can't do it today.
Did you ever have to say to someone, no, I'm really sorry. Sometimes when I'm doing stand-up, I would have an audience and I'd go, am I going to die tonight? Is that what it is? Right, tonight? Do you feel like tonight should be the one where I die? Right? Because some nights, whatever it is, it just didn't come together. Did you ever find yourself with a client and go, look, I'm really sorry. I know that, sorry about that.
No, I felt that way.
Yeah.
But I was trained at Juilliard, so I we didn't use that, my snobbiness about that. But no, but really, we had a director at Juilliard named Michael Lang, and this has to do exactly with what you're asking me. I know it seems like the long way around.
No, you can go where you want to, as long as we get back to the box, right?
I'm sure we'll get back to the box.
Yeah.
And we were going to start a play, Othello. And I was going to play this character named Emilia, and I was very excited to start rehearsal, and I wanted to get going,
Yeah.
And he would stop me every word. He stopped all of us, every word, not every line, but every word. And there was one line that had villainy, 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 and I went, villainy, and he said, stop. Now, when you say that, and I was like, I'm going to kill this man.
Yeah.
But he was the most genius man, and he was, from the British theatre, and, he's teaching us Shakespeare and so forth. Anyway, plotting it down word by word this way, feeling by feeling, drove me crazy. However, during our run, I got 104 fever and had the flu. So much so, where your hair hurts and your body hurts. And I had to wear a tight corset. And I was like, I can't. But we didn't have understudies. And it was, you go on. And you climbed out of bed and into sweat. And anyways, I got on stage. And because he had laid out this exact architecture for every move of this piece, I was able to hook into it like you hook into a bungee cord or something and just ride with this play,
right,
whether I was feeling it or not. And it just carried me through because I knew exactly what to do and what I was doing, and I had a plan. And then all I had to do was live into it.
Yeah.
And then when I got off stage, I threw up and died, but but when you say that, I totally know, there's days I just I cannot see another penis. I just can't. I'm just not in the mood. And it wasn't so much penises. It's just I wasn't in the mood to be that Marilyn Monroe heightened energy that I tried to bring to the situation. Yeah. But because I had this plan, I knew how everything would go. I just needed to hook into it. And once I got into it, just live in the moment of it. Do you know what I mean? So anyways, that's a long way of saying I completely get what you're saying. But
no, I like that though. I think because it's sort of that thing a little bit like driving a car, where when you start driving a car, you're like, and then after a while, you're just like, I'm just getting a car, right? So it's sort of that way, right? Some days you don't fancy driving a car, but So, but you never had a thing where that's very professional of you. That's why you got the big money there, right, Sephe? Because, you never had an off day. You just were like, well, I'm feeling off, but he's not going to know that I'm off because it's showtime.
Sex work is work, The off days that I had were more to do with eating because I was naked a lot, or, in lingerie anyways, a lot. So that really limits what you can eat during the day.
No.
You can't get up in the morning and just have, whatever. You can't even have yogurt because what if you have a milk reaction? So it was very specific about how I could eat and when I could eat and what I could eat. And so sometimes if I by accident, my stomach went, no, I don't like that, then it was really a problem for the day because I had to pick out lingerie that covered my bloated belly or whatever was going on with me, So I really just stuck to champagne and cigarettes most of the time because that was like, a horror.
Nutritious. Well, you got all your major food groups in there, your champagne and your cigarettes.
I don't smoke anymore, and I don't drink champagne for breakfast anymore. But
oh, hey, what's wrong with you? So who have you got in the box, right? Who have you got? Tell me who you got.
Okay. So there's two. The reason I asked for you to wait was because I wanted to see there's two people by the same name.
Oh.
And they were different experiences.
Exactly the same name, though.
Yeah.
Was it like
First and last?
Bill Cheese Grater, right? So both of them were called Bill Cheese Grater?
Yes.
That's crazy. Were they from the same family?
No, totally different. This one is Scottish.
Oh, you had a Scottish client?
I had several Scottish clients.
Really? I wonder if I know them. I've just done that thing, haven't I? Right? Like, because when you're Scottish in America, people will go to, oh, do you know Elspeth McLaughlin? She lives in Aberdeen. You're like, well, no, strangely, there's more than just me and Elspeth. But now I have done it to myself.
I had many Scottish. You want to hear a funny Scottish client?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I didn't know how many Scottish clients I actually had until there was an event called the what's the saint? There's a St. Francis, a Saint somebody.
St. Andrews?
St. Andrews, thank you.
In November, that's when the St. Andrews.
I was invited by one of my clients to please come with him as his date to the St. Andrews ball. It was a charity affair, and it was quite big and lovely in New York. And I got there, and one of my other clients was there with his wife.
No.
And one of my other clients was there with his wife.
Oh, no.
And one of my other clients. So it was, I know. And so how do I cover this up from my client that I'm with, that these other men are strangely staring at me with joy and fear mixed in their eyes?
Absolutely.
This kind of look of like, I'm looking at the redhead way too long. A bunch of gingers there. We're all a bunch of gingers there.
It's a Scottish thing, right?
And they all wore their tartans.
Yeah.
And I learned about what's that pussy pack that they wear in the front?
It is not a pussy pack. I cannot say that is way.
Well, it's furry and it's.
What you'll be talking about there, my cuddly wee friend, is a sporran. Right?
A sporran.
A sporran, which is as far away from a pussy pack as you can possibly. Although, it depends on the way it's worn. Sometimes I think it should be called a pussy pack, really.
That's what it looks like. It's white and fluffy. And
no, not white. They're not always white and fluffy. I guess really that's where it is like a pussy pack because they all have their own special individual identities. And
it's like a little muff, and right there.
I know. A little muff where you can keep your phone. Although they didn't have phones back in the day, but phones, or you can keep your wallet, or you can keep things. I don't really know what. Mark has one of them. Mark has his is a sporran though, not a pussy pack, and he tends to keep his phone and his wallet in there. It's always good to have that flapping around the main area.
Yeah.
Right. So that when you go, oh, where did I leave my phone? Then your sporran would flap against your main area and you go, oh, I found it. Right?
I think I need a pussy pack for life, though.
Oh. Well, in some ways, I feel we all do. Right, so one of them was Scottish, right? In fact, forget the box. Sorry about this. I know it's indexed to sex, listener, but we're at a St Andrew's Society event, right? Was it St Andrew's Society? Because I work with them sometimes.
Yes, New York chapter.
Oh, hello, right?
I know.
So we're at this event, and there's 4 of them in the room that are your clients.
Yeah, well, there was like thousands or maybe 1,000 people there, but I immediately saw my 4 with their beautiful wives, and who I'd never seen before. I have heard about their wives.
Yeah,
I knew the horoscope signs of their wives. I knew how many children they had, and I never realized that all 4 of them were Scottish. And what do they have in common besides, I thought, well, there are some penile common.
Oh, yeah, because we don't do the snippy snip in...
in America, they did the snippy snip.
Oh, so they weren't really Scottish then. They were pretend Scottish. Here's what I would ask you in my pedantic way. They may have had the pussy pack, as you may say, but did they also have the Scottish accent to match?
Only one.
Yeah, so that was the Scottish one. The rest of them were pretending.
They might have, but they're like one, he's now in his 90s, but he was first generation. So the oldest men were first generation coming up, not for, like their parents came over.
Right.
And so their parents were Scottish and they were the first generation.
Of Americans.
Yeah, of America.
Right. So technically they were Americans. See, my kids, they were born in London, so that makes everything very complicated in that sense. But if you ask my kids what nationality they are, I think they'd probably say they were American.
Yeah, right. Probably.
There is a thing about Scottish people where a lot of people who are not Scottish would like to be Scottish, and I don't really understand that. Like Rod Stewart, he's not really Scottish. He was born in London, but he pretends he's Scottish.
He does?
Yeah. What is that about? At the event, right?
Yeah.
How did you navigate the 4 gentlemen that were your clients?
Well, the one that I was with was the oldest one.
Right.
And we did a little picture and, we went and gave them money and did the drawing because they have the auction to raise money for widows and other people.
Yeah.
Like mostly widows, I think. I don't know. Or women who just need loans. I don't know. And then I asked what the different flavors of tartans were, because they all are. Then they told me about the different tribes and so forth. And one of my clients was very bold. And he joined in the conversation. And then it was myself and my client, plus the other client and his wife. And I think he was just pushing the boundaries. He was like enjoying the danger of it all,
Wow.
I know. And then there was a band on and they were wonderful. And of course they sang, and I would walk 500. And I had to
but it wasn't the actual real ones, right? It wasn't the real proclaimers.
It wasn't the real proclaimers. Oh, no, wait. It might have been the real proclaimers.
Might have been the real
It might have been. Everybody was quite excited about it. So it might have been. But those tables, and all the tables had Jameson, in the center, and just tons of Jameson, and just tons of people getting Jameson drunk.
Which Jameson, if I'm not mistaken, is an Irish whiskey. Just not meaning to be picky, but I'm pretty sure it is.
I have no idea. My favorite Scotch is Oban, but I don't know. That's a single malt. Oban.
Yeah, not Oban. Right. Maybe we need to do another podcast based on Scottish accent training.
Oban.
What happened? Oban and the little, what did you call it? Pussy pouches?
I'm sorry. I'm just murdering Scottish heritage right now.
How you can sexualize Scottish people. For years I've been trying to sexualize Scottish men and never managed it. And you have done it in 5 seconds. Right. What I would say, post-event, right? Post St Andrew's event, it's funny now because I bet you anybody listening to this who goes to the St Andrew's events will be like, what ones of these guys are the guys?
I know.
Post-event, did you see those clients again? Did they come again?
Yes, and what was great about the event was because I saw them, all 4 of them booked with me right away.
Oh,
Just because they were like, we got to talk. You know?
that's funny.
I know. And they're like, oh, you look so beautiful. I'm like, thank you. You've never seen me in the light time. You
Never
know?
seen you with clothes on, possibly.
Wow, in a dress. No, right. In an evening gown. No, so it was very nice. So the reason I say how did we get here? Because who was in my box?
Yeah.
All four were in my box.
And did they all have the same name? This is the thing that I need to ask you. Were they all like Smiths or
No.
McLachlans or what?
Well, I can't say what the names were because now I can
But
only...
was it Scottish names?
Yes.
All of them had Scottish names?
Yes.
They weren't really Scottish, though. No, did they call their thing pussy purses or sporrans?
Foreigners.
Right, maybe they were
Yeah.
Scottish.
No, they were Scottish. And the way that I also know is that one of them is very much into genealogy. So he likes to trace back on when his, parents came over from Scotland and the ones before that and where they were from and the whole thing and why the tartan is this way and where the clan was and so forth. And I don't know. I've only been with 4 genuinely Scottish men that I can say. I'm sure a lot of people have Scottish background.
Yeah.
But of the 4 genuinely Scottish men, their penis shapes were very similar.
No. In what way? What would you say would be? Because on behalf of people all over the world right now, I am asking, what would you say were the statistics of a Scottish penis? Apart from obviously that it maybe looks a bit corned beefy on account of no sunlight.
Well, I didn't notice that.
Right. So what's the average Scottish penis then, of the 4 that you saw?
Of the 4.
Right.
All 4 were on the medium to smaller size.
Really?
Yes, but they're all very good, very nice, but just, handleable, like you put it in your purse and take it with you. It would fit in a sporran.
So it's small to medium.
Small
right?
to medium.
But then Scottish men tend to be quite small to medium, or were in the past. Not so much now that we've got nourishment and actual vegetables, but like in the past.
That's true. They weren't the taller of the men. Whereas the Irish men, right next door, were enormous.
Yeah, really?
Not enormous, but pretty middle to larger.
Just Irish men in general have bigger penises than Scottish men?
Well, only the ones that I met.
Wow. That is impressive. And so size was one factor, was colouring or girth or anything? I can't even believe I'm asking this, but I am asking this. Was there anything similar in that sense or just kind of small to medium?
Well, everyone was a sort of ginger down there.
Oh, ginger down below, right?
Except of the ones who had already gone grey, and then it was, who knows?
Well, don't gingers keep him a bit longer, don't you?
I don't know, but the carpet didn't necessarily match the drapes because they could have dark brown hair, but ginger down there. Oh, I rhymed.
So let me ask you a question, person to person. When you hear a man with a Scottish accent, do you think, oh, probably ginger down there and small to medium?
I try not to think immediately of penises, but no. No, Lynn, I don't. Do you? You're so
no, but then I've never had to deal with them for a living. You know what I mean? Like, because I deal with people when I'm doing story and people's stories and what they're talking about. And sometimes I'll catch myself, like if I'm at an event or something, and it's not a client of mine, it's not even someone of mine, and I'll hear a story and I'll be like, oh, right? And I find myself thinking about that person's story. Now, they have not asked me to think about their story or how their story could be told, but I do. And I just wondered whether you did the same thing with penises. That was all.
I don't think about penises because that's work. I think about them as people and maybe what their Scottish background is like. Like what do they? Oh, and haggis. Have they been eating horrible haggis or something? Hey,
don't you diss haggis?
I'm dissing haggis, man.
Don't you be You come in here with your Irish whiskey.
I didn't know what it was, but one of my Scottish clients took me to a Scottish restaurant in New York because they were going to have this wonderful haggis special. And I was like, oh, haggis, let's have that. That sounds amazing. And then we started out with this amazing pea soup that I never had pea soup that was better than this. I don't even like pea soup. It was so good. I remember it to this day. And then they brought this thing called haggis. And
What's wrong with you? Haggis is lovely.
I don't know. I was like, no, it was, I don't know. It was
Do you know what you could do, though? And I might try that if in the future, not for haggis, but for things I don't want to eat. You could do this thing, and I think this could be a piece of advice for the listener. Could be that when you're faced with something that you don't want to eat, like haggis or something like that, you can go, no, thank you. It would affect the way that I'll look in my lingerie later.
Oh, God.
And at least then it'll be especially good if you're saying it at a table of complete strangers, because then they'll be like, I don't know who she is. I don't know why she's saying that, but don't make her eat the haggis.
That's right. I didn't know. I was like, what is this? It looks like a Scottish penis. But
Small to medium, kind of
to
corned beefy. And you can put it into your pussy pack.
no, the Scottish men are so lovely to me. And they were, for however big or small they were good in bed. So they were sweet and fun and kind. And they were repeat clients for me. So must mean we got along somehow.
So anyway, let's get back to Bill Cheese Grater. The two Bill Cheese Graters, right?
I'm just going to do the one who's the Scottish one.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Oh, sorry about that. I'm like a terrible person, and I don't mean to. I probably am. Horrible. Okay.
You're a lovely person. You can't do a Scottish accent to save your life, though, and you say some weird shit about haggis, but aside from that, I think you're quite adorable. Right, come on, tell us about Bill Cheese Grater.
All right, Bill Cheese Grater. He's a big guy.
Oh, well, not your atypical Scottish guy then, eh? Not your small to medium. Was he substantial?
I mean, tall and...
Oh, tall.
Not big.
Oh my God, tall with a small to medium?
Well, I'll get there.
All right.
At the bottom, I have small cock, but nice. Likes my jokes and likes when I do voices, even my Scottish accent.
No, he didn't. He just wanted to have sex with you. Honestly, Sweet Pea, if a man says to you that you've got a great Scottish accent, he literally wants into your...
pussy pack.
My
sporran. He wants my sporran.
He does.
Let's see. He's divorced. He was married to a Scorpio, but now he's married to a Leo.
Oh.
That's his... Now his girlfriend's a Leo, who I know personally. He eventually married. He has 2 children at the time were teenagers. Now they're grown. Mm-hmm. And let's see, he has very pretty eyelashes.
Oh.
He looks like he has mascara on, but he doesn't. He's Scottish, and he likes to drink scotch. So he brings his own, but he brings me a bottle of Cabernet. Okay. And all that to say, he was very nice to me. He was a great man, and I enjoyed seeing him. And I wrote that I also saw him at the Marriott, and not just in my apartment. And then one day, he said, this sounds terrible too. This is going to sound so terrible.
No, it won't. Look, nothing can sound worse than not liking haggis. Come on. Spit it out, lady.
I'm sorry. I sound so unladylike today. So anyway, one day he said to me, I really like you. He said, I just wish you could grow out a little more hair, because I'm not very hairy. And I said, well, this is it. This is as much as you get, right?
Yeah. Head or hairy on your...
Sporran hairy.
Sporran on your hairy?
What? You want some hairy or sporran? Oh, and maybe under my arms.
Oh, hello.
And I said, no, I have to work.
Yeah.
I can't. If I was your only girl and you took good care of me, then I could do that. But I can't.
Yeah. You wouldn't do the under the arms thing.
Well,
I never understand the hair under the arms unless you had to dust a difficult spot around the house. Do you know what I mean? It never made any sense to me.
Women in Colorado and women in France.
Yeah.
That's 2 places specifically, maybe.
Maybe they've got a lot of difficult places to dust. Maybe that's what it is. And you can just lift your arm, dust that difficult space, and you're good.
I don't know. But what happened was I was friends with other working girls, and I did have one I was very close to, and I'll have to make up a name for her. But let's say Paula. And she has long dark
Paula Brie. We can call her Paula Brie because he was Bill Cheese Grater, right? And Paula Brie, and that sort of fits within my. No, is that works, right? Right, Paula Brie.
Yeah. So Paula Brie had long, beautiful, silky black hair. And he said, well, wait, maybe she can come over for a threesome.
Yeah.
So he paid for both of us.
Cheese board. For a cheese board.
That's right. He worked the sausage and I was like, anyway.
Charcuterie, right?
Charcuterie. So she came over and it turned out she was hairier than me. And he said to me, I think I'm going to want to see her instead of you. Nothing personal, but I just prefer women who are more, and this is when I learned this word, hirsute.
Oh.
Did you know that? Hirsute means hairy. I didn't know that. So he wants more hirsute women. And so the next time I saw her, she had hair under her arms and hair on her legs. And I was like, what are you doing?
Oh.
And she said, oh, well, Bill has decided to take care of me completely. So he got her an apartment.
No way.
Yeah, I mean, here I was working hourly, doing my best. And
you missed your big chance there, Sephe. If you had just been a hairy bird, you could have been totally you could have been set for life. If you had a big moustache, the world could have been your oyster.
I just had to be the McDonald's, I guess, one burger at a time. So yeah, I lost my Scotsman because he liked the dark hairy girl.
He liked the bear.
He really wasn't that hairy. I mean, she's a woman, how hairy can she be? But it was just more he liked.
I want to ask you a question though. How did she feel about being hairy for Bill? Was she okay with that?
Yeah, she was good. I mean, she was already kind of the person who didn't really feel like. She was an art major, and she just was very introverted, very interesting girl. In the end, she turned out not so nice to me, but that was before all that. But she was a very, introverted person. So she did what she wanted, the way she wanted to do it, and supposedly didn't really care so much about what other people thought. But he took good care of her. She had silk nightgowns in her own apartment.
A silk nightgown's all very well, but it's only going to catch on your hair if you don't sort that stuff out. Right? And I guess you probably need silk because you would get that static electricity, wouldn't you, if it was a cheaper fabric?
She didn't have that much hair. I'm just saying she was hairier than me. You're making her out to be a monster.
No, just in my mind, right, I'm thinking of Paula Brie, and she sort of looks a bit like King Kong with an apron, right? But that's not how Paula Brie looked at all.
She looked like, let's see, she was very tall and very slim with long black hair.
King Kong was also very tall. What, are you denying the tallness of King Kong? He's known for being both tall and hairy. That's what he's known for.
I've got to get you off this, Lynn.
I think, I think the thing about this episode, most of all, is that now when I go back to Scotland, I'm going to look at certain gentlemen and go, hee hee. Like that, that's what I think.
Well, it has to be kind of small and compact to fit under that heavy tartan, so it doesn't get hurt.
Yeah, and it does, and also that there's room for your mobile phone in your pussy pack, right? If you have too much of your penis there, it's going to just disrupt all of your organisation.
Cause she's the sweetheart of 6 other guys.
Well, that's all from us for this episode. I've been Lynn Ferguson talking to Sephe Haven. Join us again next time for another episode of My Index to Sex.
Of mine, cause she's the sweetheart of 6 other guys.
You have been listening to My Index to Sex, produced by Ferdal LLC. The music was performed by Chesney Hawkes, and you can learn more about Sephe Haven at sephehaven.com. Go to mitspodcast.com to check out the show notes for more details, including how to stay in touch, give feedback, and ask questions. All the best.
Sunday's my only time with that bozo of mine, 'cause she's the sweetheart of 6 other guys.